This week I helped a close friend put together a slideshow for his brother's funeral. There wasn't a lot of money involved, just love, memories, and the need to honor life. I am developing a skill. Someone needed help, so this is how I tried my best to help. I want to show you how I put it together in case you ever need to do the same for someone you care for or even yourself. So the next thing you have to realize is that sometimes your phone, your tablet, your computer may not have on it what you need. If you have Office, Google has several, like Google Slides works really well. Or if you even have a Gmail account to say that, if you're on a phone and you don't use those services or a tablet, start investigating some free to cheap video editing and photo editing softwares. I'll get to free to cheap in just a second. Several versions are CapCut, VN Video Editor, InShot, KineMaster, Adobe Premiere Rush, LumaFusion, LightCut, some free photo editors, Snapseed, Lightroom Mobile. I chose CapCut because I had been using or have been using CapCut at my job to do things like training videos. So I'm a little familiar with its mobile version, but I'm at a desktop right now, so I'll show you a quick way I could help my friend do a slideshow or someone else, or they could do it for themselves. So download CapCut, come to a new project. Now be careful. The one thing I can say about CapCut is that when you decide on a text or a template or effects that you like for whatever project it is in the free version, it may not be available the next time you try to make a recording. So free to cheap normally means there may be like a studio upgraded version. There may be a professional version. That's where they get you with the payment. So, but this is meant to be cheap and free and helpful in the very beginning. So first thing I would do is notice these little symbols down here. I wouldn't worry about that one. I would not turn off auto snapping. Auto snapping, you'll see a blue line come up as I'm aligning my imported data, and that blue line assures me that it's going to be directly in front or directly behind the one that we had just put in there, and there will be no overlap. I would, however, turn off the linkage. That way you can kind of break these individual pieces up easier and move them around. You'll see in just a second. So select the media that you want. You're going to go import. Find it on your computer or whatever device. Open it. You'll see that it opens it. And you add it to the slideshow or project. So there may be a point, and there's a lot of different features up here. But let's put some text in. Add plus. So in memory. Now you can put these things wherever you want them. You can change the time of them. This is your time ruler up here. You can change where you want these things. What I've found, and I don't know everything about CapCut, like I said, I've only been using the free versions. You can Control C and then Control V paste, and now you've got one that is out of the timeline. If you wanted to copy it, the same one, see how I drug it over, and you see the vertical and horizontal blue lines? Those are your snap to lines. So what can happen, I personally, if I have pictures or videos, I like to keep them in the same place, but you may want to do different effects to even the same picture in the same slide. But the way this would look when they first put it on their projector to play it for their church is something like this. First one's going to come up. You're not going to see a difference right now because we chose the same picture. But let's carry it a little further. Let's say we want a different one. So we're going to go back to media. We're going to import. And let's say we want the solemn guy sitting on the bench. We're going to add it. We'll bring this one up here, put it behind that one, snapped directly to it. Let's add one more just to have better understanding. Media, import, solemn man standing. Yep, that's the one we want. We're going to bring it up here. We're going to clip it in to there. Now let's just say you want a little bit of an outro. You would go right back here, click your placemaker in place, go back to text, and in default text it's going to automatically add it. Change that to whatever you want to change it to. Hit enter. So now you have a beginning, the material, and an end. And let's say you want some music playing in the background, whatever genre fan they were, you can go back to media. Now this, you can bring in music like that you have stored on your phone, YouTube songs. This can actually cut out the audio from the video. Just be careful with copywriting. I make all of my own music and sounds because I don't want to get into the copyright world. So as an example, we'll go back to where we have our media stored. I can bring in a sample audio file and add it. Now I have a sample audio file added to the project. You'll have to make sure that it snaps in place. Let's just say that the audio file is too long, which this one looks like it is. Just like the others, you can bring this in, snap it into the length of your project. Now, with the sample audio, the text, the slides, you could have a very quick, professional sounding looking slideshow, because accidents happen fast and you never really know or how to plan for certain things. And a lot of times when it comes to funerals, you've got to be able to move quickly. One thing that I forgot to mention that's pretty important when you're dealing with doing something like this for a funeral, or you may be doing something for a baseball stadium or anything like that, with a large screen. In CapCut, I've found that it's quite simple. It's easy to get to. You go right here to ratio, and you find out what ratio will fit your project best. The best way to determine that for large projectors at stadiums, it seems the best aspect ratio is typically 16:9. It serves as the standard for high definition HD and 4K content. However, for specialized ultra-wide or panoramic installations designed for maximum screen real estate, you might want to think about 21:9. There are often different customizations you may have to research, so just ask before you finalize your project and publish it what they're actually going to be playing your slideshow on. This one I would put to 16:9 because it's going to go on a regular projector style output at a church. And then when you export it, another thing that I thought was pretty neat is that once you do export it, you can then decide whether or not you want to share it. So once it's doing its exporting, normally takes a little bit of time. This one's moving along pretty well. But where it says right here when it's finished, you can share it to your mobile, your social media accounts, whatever it is you may signed into. And I don't have any of the other social media accounts other than YouTube. Most people these days know, well, frankly, a lot more than I do about everything that is digital. As I've been, going down this journey of recording more and more things throughout years, the one thing that I'm constantly having to update is my storage. So, first thing to think about are portable hard drives. If you have a computer, a desktop, or something like that, understand that when you start doing these recordings for any reason, you have to figure in how much memory you're going to be taking while recording. 2 terabytes, 1 terabyte. You'll notice TB, terabyte. Then you'll see some that'll say GB, gigabyte. Gigabyte smaller, terabytes larger, especially for some older people that may not be as tech savvy. So this is a really good go-to. I personally have 4 terabyte attached, and I can keep many things. But the scary bit is if the portable hard drive, goes out or becomes faulty. I've had that happen before. So what I would highly recommend is doing multiple versions of storage for people that need to be on the go a little bit and move from one computer to the next. Or you can even get a USB-C to USB connector to plug this directly into your phone if you want to save images or videos that are gonna possibly eat up your phone's memory. So again, there are many of these devices made by a wild variety of people. I'm not here to tell you what is better or worse. I think that SanDisk is a pretty good brand, but I'm not advocating for them specifically. Another thing to figure in is when you purchase your phone. For those of you that are only using your phone and have no more money to try to help, or whatever the situation is, the reason you're recording, keep in mind the size of the SSD card that you have in your phone. Some phones, nicer phones, come up with a 256 gigabyte. Some of them come with terabyte. Just remember, the smallest this number, when you see GB instead of TB, you're going to have less space to record. So, like I said, just keep that in mind. The next thing is, because I'm scared of when things like this malfunction, I would strongly suggest some version of cloud backup. Now, this is not just for helping with a slideshow such as this. This is all helping all of your personal information. Some people, myself, have been extremely not smart in the past and decided to not have some of these backup features. And when I really started looking into it, I don't care if it's Google Drive, if you're using iCloud, if you're using Samsung Cloud. I personally use Drive. I've been paying for a Drive account for quite some time, and to have the amount of storage that I have on Drive, it's worth every dime. Every time I've had something fail, whether it's a USB drive, a portable hard drive, I lose an SSD card, I set my phone, my computer, whatever it is I'm using, to automatically update at certain intervals, and I can just keep right on trucking. So that's something you really have to figure into your budget, however you feel like your budget will be for your beginning stages of recording and data storage. For those of you that do not have any recording equipment, a computer or a tablet, something, at the higher end of things and how they cost, don't let that deter you from trying your best. You can perform really good, solid recordings in situations like this using just your phone. It doesn't have to be a super expensive phone. The one thing I do suggest, however, is a set of these microphones. They are a lavalier style, which can clip onto your shirt. They don't have to be an expensive Shure brand. It's $15.99 for the total package. I currently use this set at my other job to do trainings and record videos for trainings. They do an absolutely fantastic job of keeping out noise that's from across the room. You'll notice that you have two small styles. You've got one that's going to help when you're in a windy situation. Always keep what they call a pop filter on, because when you speak, the P in pop comes out very strongly. Keep in mind, I'll show you the next thing. I had to get an extender. This piece right here was too short to get through the cover of my phone. But for $15.99, these are fantastic little microphones, and I would say almost a must-have. This is the USB-C extender that I was mentioning. You can do this many different ways. You can get a corded one, but my phone has a really thick, robust cover, and this particular USB extender works perfect. Again, $16 for the microphone, $7 for this. You're under 30, $25-30, and I promise you the recording is going to be phenomenal compared to just the one that's in your phone. I'm not knocking the recording capability of phones, but if you'll spend the $25 and get these, you'll find out exactly what I'm talking about. For those of you that do not currently have a phone and are still not understanding what the GB, TB in certain situations means, I decided to just do a real quick search just to find what I thought would be really decent deals for low money. And this Moto G 2025 looks like it's pretty good with 128 gigabytes of memory. It's got a decent or a pretty standard camera. And what it means, unlocked, you can basically get this to be used on many mobile networks. I'm not advocating for brands. I do not have people paying me to give them, props or shout outs, but Mint Mobile, there's T-Mobile, you have to pick a plan, but for $174, this is a pretty good base start. It seems like the Edge is a little more expensive, and for it to be kind of the same specs except for one thing. Look at this right here, 256 gigabytes for $189. For it to be so closely compared to the 170, this is not a bad camera, but it's still probably a little bit out of certain people's budgets. The Samsung Galaxy A15 5G seems to be what I would buy. Honestly, I've had Samsung phones. 128 gigabytes is going to give you more than you need to do a slideshow. If you decide that this is something you want to do a little bit more full time, for all I know, while you're helping a friend in a similar situation, someone might be there, like what you did, and you might wind up doing something for them. Also remember the storage. I found a SanDisk 64 gigabyte for $16. That's fantastic. And then don't forget the little microphones. You'll notice that today they're $17.99 instead of $15.99. I think when I purchased them months ago, they were probably $24. So I'm just saying, roughly for $150, less than $150, outside of your subscription, whatever plan you pay for your phone, this is about as cheap as it's going to get, I think, and you get a decent quality. But if you already have the phone, you're already halfway there. In closing, we usually talk about equipment, but today this is about us as humans. Machines break, bodies wear out, time keeps moving. What we do in the middle is the work. My hopes are that anyone that has a limited budget can still create fantastic slideshows for loved ones. What you need: phone, software to edit. That's it. Throw in the microphones and you too can help a loved one, friend, or even yourself in a situation just like this one. You do not have to break the bank to help create meaningful content. At his brother's funeral, the dates on the headstones were referenced by the pastor, and the dash between them. The dash is everything we get. That's the part that truly matters. Some truths are meant to change us, not to become content. I am simply glad that I could help my friend.
I have seen my last tomorrow. I am holding my last breath. Goodbye, sweet world of sorrow. My new life begins with death. I am standing on a mountain. I can hear the angels' song. I am reaching over Jordan. Take my hand, oh, lead me home. All my burdens my final prayer. Don't you cry over my body, that ain't me lying there. I am standing on the mountain, I can hear the angels' song. I am reaching over Jordan. Take my hand, Lord, lead me home. Take my hand.